The game I'm about to show you comes from an account that is no longer in good standing at chess.com. But the game, and in particular the finish, is outstanding, and I could not resist showing it to you. Without further ado, let's dive in. White opens the game here with pawn to e4, but it's black's play we are particularly going to focus on, and black responds with pawn to c5. Now, the opening is nothing to really write home about, so we get knight f3, knight c6, pawn d4, open Sicilian, pawn takes d4, and knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, pawn e6, and now bishop e3. Not the strongest move in this position. In fact, playing white myself, I have many times gotten into trouble when I have allowed bishop b4 in a strong situation for black. This is already a difficult position because black is in a good spot to play d5 very soon, but black doesn't go for that in this game. We see now pawn to f3. d5 is already ready to be played here, but black goes ahead and castles. Then we get bishop to d3, queen b6, which is a strong move, bishop e2, bishop c5. Better would have been pawn to d5 again. And now the only move for white is really knight to a4. After that, black should throw a check, and then white should retreat, and the position remains roughly balanced. Instead, though, we get here knight takes c6. Of course, this is allowing the bishop on e3 to be captured, and when that bishop goes, white's dark squares are in a lot of trouble. It is going to be difficult to capture on either side of the board. So black, of course, does capture on e3. We get knight to e7 check. The king must move over to h8. Now we get knight takes c8, and of course, the right and simple solution is just to recapture with the rook. It would be a bit hasty to throw this check in here. It is still strong to do that, but you're actually encouraging the king to step over. Your bishop could become trapped over there on f2. Better to just recapture and develop the rook. So, after rook takes c8, we get rook b1, defending this attacked pawn on b2. Not a great move, but there are no good moves here. And now knight to h5. Another strong move in this position was bishop to g1 instead, which intends to come in with queen to f2 check. Bishop g1 also threatens bishop takes h2, because when you make a capture over here with the bishop, if the rook would take, there'd be a fork. But knight h5 is very strong as well. Now, pawn to g3 here, trying to create some room for the king to come over to g2, and suddenly the dark squares aren't such a big problem if white sort of castles by hand and keeps everything on the light squares. That is a good plan for black to try to, or for white to try to get back in this game. Now, bishop f2 check, king f1, and this is a great moment to pause your video and ask yourself what you would play. Now, if it was me in this position, there are two things that would come to mind, but there are a lot of good options. You might have found something really creative and strong. I don't know, but I would certainly be thinking about pawn to f5 here, just looking to get the one piece that is not contributing to the attack into play and trying to open the f file and aim at white's king. That's a pretty strong move in this position. And another idea, instead of pawn to f5, would be bishop takes g3, saying, hey, after pawn takes, knight takes, I'm forking the king and the rook. You move your king, I take your rook. Now, it's not so clear that exchanging two minor pieces for a rook and two pawns is great, but it's definitely better for black here because you also destroy the white pawn structure around the king. Black is better there. But black finds a better move than either of these ideas. And from here to the end of the game, black is going to play the best moves at every step of the way. Black plays knight takes g3 check. This is a brilliant move. I actually don't think this move is like so crazy for black to find. It's a very natural attacking idea to take on g3. You get two pawns for the piece, and you're going to be threatening checkmate, as happens in the game. You get h takes g3, bishop takes g3, and this checkmate is threatened and not so obviously stoppable in this position. So this makes sense. It's not so crazy, but now the following line is forced. There's only one definitely winning line for black, and it is spectacular. So the move for white here is king g2, saying, hey, you can come in here, but it's not going to be checkmate. And after I hide my king on the light squares, how are you going to get to that king? You have sacrificed, and if I can beat back the attack, I'm actually going to have a good game for the first time in a long time. So we do get queen f2 check, committing to the attack. King h3, another great moment to pause your video if you want to try to find the best continuation. Black does find it. A nice rook lift here with rook to c5. Of course, going in for rook over here to h5 check, and also just thinking in a lot of cases about retreating this bishop so that suddenly you have ideas of queen coming into g3 with checkmate and all kinds of things. Lots of dangerous attacking ideas. So now queen g1, and this is a critical defensive idea for white. And in fact, after queen g1, which is obviously intending to trade queens, eliminate the attack, and then give black or white a chance to try to convert the extra material, and queen g1 also threatens to just take on g3, there's only one winning sequence for black. In fact, white is better after everything but the sequence played in the game. And this begins with rook h5 check, and now king to g4. Obviously, the check was pretty natural, but after king g4, white is now threatening again to trade queens and also to take on h5 in two different ways. So how can the attack continue? Well, the key is another brilliant move. Pawn to f5 check. Of course, this move maybe is very natural to consider, but it is a rook sacrifice. After pawn f5 check, the king takes here, and you want to bring the queen in to continue the attack, but you don't have any way to do that. Now you're not just down a knight, you're down a knight and a rook, and a queen trade is in the air. What do you actually do here? This is my favorite move of the game. Again, if you want to pause the video, you should definitely do so and try to find what black could possibly play here to continue the attack. Well, the right and winning move is the spectacular bishop f4. This is just stunning. The bishop quietly retreats to set up a gorgeous mating net, and black is offering this amazing queen sacrifice, just leaving the queen right here on f2. The point here is that there's actually no way to stop mate with the rook lift, rook to f6, rook to h6, or no good way to stop mate here. If the queen captures the free queen on f2, black only has a bishop and a rook left. Black is down a queen, knight, and rook, but after rook to f6, it's just going to be checkmate. You can postpone things for one move by capturing on f5, but then black recaptures, and it's basically mate next move with rook to h6, checkmate. The only thing that white can do to stop things for just a moment is to play the move queen b6, but you capture and nothing has changed in the position. This is such a beautiful mating net. So, after bishop f4 in this position, there's no way to save the game. What we see is pawn to e5, but now you have g6 check. The king is basically checkmated. The only move here is queen takes g6, but now after pawn takes, king takes, which is a funny discovered check, black is up material and the attack continues. So here, king over to g8, bishop h2 was also good, rook over to g1. It is funny here that you have both rooks lined up on the only two open files. And I mean, you almost have threats in this position, like not quite, but you almost have some serious threats. For example, if the rook wasn't covering this, you could play a discovered check and checkmate with king f6. Unfortunately, the square is not legally available, and there's no really good way to finish things off, but you're almost there. Black, though, has ways to defend, and rook f7 is a great way to defend. keeping everything secure and just intending to bring the rook over to check the white king. The white king is sort of attacking on g6, but it's also tactically vulnerable. So here you get rook h8 check, which is kind of cute, but after king takes, the other rook is also hanging, so queen takes g1. And now it's just mopping up bishop c4, queen g7 check. You bring back the bishop to set up the mating net, take the knight that was stopping checkmate, and finally checkmate in this position. So I hope that you have enjoyed this game. Whatever the source of the game, the moves are really, really beautiful. And I'm the kind of person who just loves beautiful chess patterns, no matter the source, no matter how they come about. And for me, the idea of this mating attack with knight takes g3 check, and then pawn f5 check, sacking the rook on h5, and then finally bishop f4, and then mating net here with rook f6 and h6 is just so beautiful. I love it. It's the kind of thing that makes me enjoy chess every single day, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.